without power. Over the last 36 hours, we've seen over 34,000 accounts be restored. This is important, and what's been happening is that our folks on the transportation side have been out aggressively cleaning debris and some of the flooding areas so that the power company, the linemen, can get back in and restore power. Obviously, it's easier to go and do that in the areas after the water recedes. So we appreciate that, and I want to thank all of our first responders, our transportation folks, and everyone locally and statewide who are helping make that happen. There have been over 38 swift water rescues that have occurred, and this has been a combination, once again, of a lot of people at the local level, on the National Guard, and others, and we're going to continue to be available to help all those in need. As many know, the Tug Fork River and the Bluestone River and some of our tributaries, they've been swollen and they've experienced major flooding levels, something we haven't seen before in a very long time. That means that there's damage to significant numbers of structures and roads and significant evacuations to people to higher elevations. Many streams and rivers are still cresting, and we expect that there are going to be some additional instances of flooding coming out. We have one confirmed fatality at this time. We're obviously going to work to hold off on the identity of that person until the family gets notified. Then we will provide that to you. There are still several people who are missing, and when we learn more information about that, we will also let you know. In terms of weather, it's expected to remain windy and a little snowy across the region today, especially in some of the higher elevations that's received a little bit more snow. And we know that cold temperatures persist. This is particularly relevant with some of the counties that have a significant percentage of their homes out with power. As of recently, Mingo County had about 58% of its people who did not have power. Obviously, we have teams working to help Mingo and all of the affected counties. Right now, it looks that Mingo, McDowell, Mercer appear to be hardest hit, but all of the counties, Logan and other, we're actually working, we're on the ground, we're trying to be as helpful as we can. It's important for people to know how they can help. I think the first thing that people could do on the ground is you actually want to share information to our emergency management team. There's a website that we want people to go to. It's called emd.wv.gov/disaster survey. Let me repeat that again. emd.wv.gov. Go online and you provide that information. That'll make a big difference because then you're assisting us to better know what's happening on the ground. After they get all that information, they roll it up, and then that allows there to be the best type of coordination at the local and the state level. We know that this remains a dangerous situation, and we're working with our emergency partners to ensure that everyone is protected. We know that the 9/11 centers and the state police dispatch in McDowell County, they've already received over 700 calls for service during the past 36 hours. Mercer County is also experiencing a high level of 911 calls. I want to say again, thank you to our first responders and everyone, all of our volunteers. There are people that I'm hearing already are working to help to make sure that water and food are going out to people that are in need. There are a number of road closures in West Virginia, and we're working to get that list out to you. We know that there have been some roadblocks and detours that have been set up to make sure that people are not wading into harm's way. Now, there have been a couple things that the state has also done, just to update folks. I mentioned last night, but when this first came to our attention, we had deployed all hazard swift water rescue teams to McDowell County and areas down south. That's 5 vehicles, 2 boats, 1 trailer. We activated the Joint Operations Center. So that now has multiple personnel across various state agencies. We know that the West Virginia State Police has drones, and other agencies have drones that are doing damage assessment and reporting information back to us. With respect to people that may be in immediate need, we know that there are certain shelters in place in McDowell County, at the Mount View High School, at the Houston Methodist Church in Kimball, also at the Reclamation Church in Welch. We know that there's also shelter in place at the Mingo Fieldhouse in Williamson. The tug was up at near historic levels. We know that there are some challenges. Once again, we're going to do everything we can to help. From the state, we already know that over 50,000 water bottles have been deployed to the affected areas. More is going to be on the way. As we identify needs, we're going to make sure we're doing everything we can to help citizens who may be in need. We're also coordinating with the Red Cross, other local charities, to make sure that all the appropriate resources can be brought to bear and leveraged to help people that are most in need. In terms of Department of Education, we know that no county in the state is really operating under normal conditions because of the holiday, but we know that all counties today, or a number of counties, are closed due to weather, and we wanted to update folks that as of what we've heard recently, that's up to 16, including Cabell and Clay, Fayette, Harrison, Logan, McDowell, Mingo, Monongalia, Ohio, Preston, Raleigh, Randolph, Summers, Tyler, Upshur, and Wyoming. We know that McDowell County's opened up schools as shelters. They're running buses to bring families into places so they can be helped. Let me reemphasize again, we're working closely as a team with folks on the local level. We benefit when citizens provide information. They submit it to our emergency management team. Once again, you can fill out a survey and you can submit it to emd.wv.gov/disaster survey. This is still a safe and ongoing situation that we're monitoring. We're asking people to not drive in flooded areas. That's not safe. We're going to utilize every asset at our disposal to help the people in need. And we're going to be there every step of the way until our communities are recovered. I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
How is the snow affecting the efforts to provide aid to those areas and things along those lines?
Yeah. So we've been dealing with obviously a confluence of tough weather conditions because we had the very high rain that hit a lot of the counties very hard. Some areas got over 5 inches of rain, and now that shifted to snow. In most parts of the region, the snow had been about 1 inch, but there were a couple particular areas that it was elevated. So obviously our first responders and folks are dealing with that, but we're working in coordination with our Department of Transportation and highway workers. As I mentioned, they're doing a lot of the good to clear the area that allows people to come and to help folks, whether it's delivering water or engaging in other activities. So obviously we're always hopeful for end of snowy conditions. The thing we're also paying close attention to is the temperature. Obviously, when you're in a county and the power is out for over 50%, that raises issues, and we want to make sure that those issues get addressed. We're on top of that, and obviously as more people provide information to us, we want to make sure we're dispatching resources as needed. Other questions that folks have? General, any comments? Anything else you'd like to add?
Sir, I would just once again like to thank our first responders across the state. They've been working around the clock in coordination with their emergency managers and the National Guard. Those 38 swiftwater rescues are incredible, and that's mostly volunteer fire departments who are burning the midnight oil
right.
to save our citizens. And so I would just thank you, and I would say, remember, we all know this, but remember, if you see a flooded roadway, turn around, don't drown. We know that, and we have to implement that and hold each other accountable. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm going to conclude on this note. I plan to go down to some of the affected areas, and I'll be leaving over the course of the next hour. So as we learn more information, we're going to come back to you, and we're going to let you know. West Virginians deserve to be kept updated during more challenging times, but I can tell you that we've had a great team of people working, coordinating this efforts. The local folks have been incredibly cooperative and leading the way. Volunteers are stepping up as we keep finding ways to get more help to people. We rest assured we're going to let people know. So thank all West Virginians for tuning in. We're going to be back in touch with you very, very soon. Thank you.
No problem.